Ojutun sorrow. Eyes are talking. Why are you talking?
Talking drum. Hi everyone, welcome back. Loving and Living with DAMI and TOJU. Hope you've been enjoying the episode so far.
I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, I've been enjoying shooting as well. I'm really liking the sets, the little tweaks we have. Going really well. Okay, so today, you know how in marriages or when during marriage ceremonies, when the pastor is giving his exhortation and everything, it always gets to a point. The pastor will now say, I have one advice.
So everybody
one
present.
Advice, by the way, just one advice. And advice for everyone, mommy and daddies, aunties and uncles, brothers and sisters. Leave this couple alone. No third party interference. So no third parties at all. Is the expression third party always a bad thing?
Yeah. Are there versions, variations, flavors? If you can use
third parties. Is there a time when
third parties that you think could be helpful or maybe
necessary?
Necessary,
yeah. So that's the gist for today. Is it just me, myself, and my husband, or me, myself, and my wife? What we say is what we say. Yeah. Are we good to go on our own counsel and wisdom at all times? Yeah.
So that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. I'm sure you already have some things in your mind. Well, guess what? We don't have all the answers. So why not tune in, listen to what we have to say, and then share your own thoughts as well. But we'll be back to give you greater detail. However, what I can tell you from many pastors I know is that their monies are different from church money. So how do pastors make money? A couple of things that the pastors earn or source of income. Some pastors actually get paid by the church. Not all, but some actually get paid by the church. I think that the law in Nigeria actually doesn't allow a pastor who's on the board of trustees to get paid. However, there are certain incentives that the pastor can get. So things like maybe transportation costs, maybe things like if the church has a church home or a parsonage. This is not a church home, right? But I'll explain. Things like phone calls, because you're making a lot of phone calls, people in the church or for evangelism or discipleship or out of station work and all of that. So some pastors actually get paid as in like a salary. Some pastors are not salaried, but they get incentivized. So they get some incentives for the work that they do, or some parts of their costs are covered. All right, so we are back.
See, director, should I tell you what this man said? Before we started. No, Yinka will use it to blackmail us. I'm calling Yinka too much inside this thing.
We're not going to use this.
Yeah.
All right, so don't worry, that's no third parties on that one. That particular exchange. So basically, you spoke about pastors saying that you're shading me because I've said that before, right? Conducting
no, you explain yourself now.
Yeah. So, is it important for you to wolf-proof your marriage?
Wolf-proof? Wow.
Yes, wolf-proof, because a household is like a sheepfold. Yeah, and to a large degree, the father or the husband is a shepherd. Yep, and then that role of shepherding is shared with the wife when the family starts growing, right? But the husband is the shepherd over the wife and over the children. So there are always wolves in every pack. Yeah, there's a pack of wolves in business. Some people call them sharks, right? People are just trying to look for the juicy bits of that thing to rip it apart. So I think we should start off from the point of third party. What's our definition of third party? Because I think that in most people's minds, third party is this wolf thing, where it's just that guy that's always lurking around, and that's true.
Coming lurking to around, pour small poison inside their nice pot of soup that will now spread.
Why people always so happy, trying to like distract the wife, or in some cases, the husband. So it could be sister secretary, it could be antagonist. It could be.
Okay, I don't know how to rhyme like you, but sometimes it's always, my husband is always listening to what his mom says.
Yeah, so it could actually be familial,
Yep.
you know, so it's not always the naughty Nancy out there. Sorry if your name is Nancy. I have some friends who are Nancy.
Oh, yeah.
Right, we don't mean that at all. What we're talking about is not the bad girl. It's not always the bad girl out there.
Yeah.
It could be older sister.
Yeah, it could be a bestie who was your bestie before you got married.
Yes, and then who's actually having some kind of envy. You know, why you're not talking to me the way you talked to me before?
True, but sometimes the person might not even be envious. It might just be, I'm used to being with you,
Yeah,
so you should run things by me. I should talk to you.
What's it all about?
Yeah, and the person might just be, I don't want to say ignorant, but lack information or lack knowledge in, okay, these people are married.
Of
they
the
need
discretion.
The discretion, yeah.
So, you know, realigning themselves.
Exactly, redefining the relationship or how the relationship flows.
Absolutely.
Now that your bestie is married.
So third parties, in that regard, we're like, no, not in that regard, right?
Yeah.
It could be very dangerous. I'll use the word wolf-proof. You got to wolf-proof your marriage. So for example, let's assume, and that's not the case, that every decision I had to make or we had to make, my wife goes like, oh, you know what, don't worry, I'll get back to you in 3 days. And I discovered that she's
consulting some oracles.
I'm talking about the software company. Yeah, consulting whoever, somewhere, somebody online, because most of the oracles these days are not in a shrine. They're on WhatsApp, they're social media, they're in there abroad. So all those kind of
in the Western culture abroad, to that one.
Because these days the witchcraft of this generation has nothing to do with shedding blood, or very little to do with shedding blood, crocodile skin, wearing awo and
getting
carrying
he goats and red blankets.
Some of the greatest witches these days, they wear 3-piece suits, mascara, they look tight, use Mac computer, peng, like TOJU. TOJU. The TOJU.
Right.
Yeah, so third parties in that regard.
No.
And why do you think that's dangerous?
I think it's dangerous because, well, you know, as believers, it's a covenant. So when you begin to tamper with that, you're interfering. You're not allowing them to grow into the agreement they vow to themselves. Then you're doing amebo. You're trying to break up what God has put together and what is becoming one.
Yeah, what God has put together, let the man put
asunder. So asunder is not always, I've made people divorce. It starts with these little things that creep in.
Right, and all of that. No, you use a very important word, interference. So it's almost like you're making a call on your phone, and then you can't hear there's some kind of...
Hello, can you hear me?
So you don't need any DJ to remix your marriage.
Oh, offering time. Clap your neighbor, high five. Tell him I understand it.
Run your hand
over your head and holler.
Yeah, so you don't need DJ to remix your marriage. Don't let anybody turn your white rice to what?
To
fried rice or burnt offering, as the case may be. It's a coconut fries.
Coconut fries. Okay, so on that note, third parties in that regard is a no-no for us. So like he was saying, there are other variations of third parties. So we'll talk about that.
Very important announcement we have to make. Stay tuned and we'll dive into the rest of this conversation.
Really, first of all, I'm really happy that my children are not fussy eaters. So generally speaking, whatever we eat, they're able to eat. Obviously, when they were much younger, between 6 months and 1.5, I was all about healthy eating and all of that. So I don't want to mention names. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. I don't want to mention names, but there are people online I discovered that really did healthy food for babies, the cereals and fruits and all of that. So I really worked with those when they were between 1 and 2. But moving over, when we started eating swallows, I was happy. So everybody is on the beans, pottage, fish, meat. They really eat everything that we eat. And I think so far, pediatricians have no hookers. So we're doing good. It's not different. It's not really different. I try to give them fruits a lot to school. So at least 2 to 3 times a week, they have fruits and only water. They have maybe Ribena or Capri Sun. I'm not supposed to say Capri Sun, but they have sweet drinks. Like once in a month or once in 2 months. Yeah. But grandma spoils them. When I'm not there, grandma gives them stuff. But when they are here, we stick to water. And they are used to it. They are fine with it. Yep.
Hi people. It's like a third party rumpled my shirt.
Should get third party to iron it.
Oh yes, that kind of third party can be good if it's just my shirt, the ironing, nothing else. All right. But anyway, so we spoke about the unnecessary third party interference.
The cantankerous,
the beta, divisive,
divisive,
and all of that. But we also advise people against isolation or insulation, because sometimes it doesn't start with isolation, it starts with insulation, where you make yourself unreachable. You know, once you're now in this marriage, some women, they just stop talking to their friends. Like, if your friends are still single,
what do you know about it?
What do you know about
it? They didn't know about it.
Right now, so it starts with insulation, then it progresses to isolation, and it becomes desolation, and possibly damnation.
Wow.
So IIDD, you want to, just avoid that. And how do you do that? I think one of the major things you want to do is to have this healthy circle of friends.
Yeah.
And as I've grown older, I've come to realize that you actually have friends in layers and in levels.
Yeah.
Back then, you used to be like, this is my best friend.
My guy,
my G, my bros, my chief, my chairman.
Meanwhile,
until that chairman removes the chair from the man that you are.
You now fall down if you are not standing on the rock. Oh my God. Hey.
The rock might not be standing on you.
Hey.
And you don't want that. Even if from Abeokuta, we don't want the rock to crush you. So shout out to our Olumo guys.
So for our international foes, so Abeokuta means
under the rock.
Under the rock.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But the rock of ages is greater than the Olumo rock. Anyway, so let's talk about this now. So insulation. So what these people do now is that they go like, we're talking about circle of friends.
Yeah.
So I've come to realize that you can actually have best friends that are seasonal. You can actually have best friends for certain seasons of your life. It plays out that way. Now, there's some of us who are favored enough to have the same set of best friends for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or 50 years. But the point I'm trying to make is the fact that you've gotten married now and that your husband or your wife is now your best friend and is supposed to be for the rest of your life. Doesn't mean the other good friends are now
get out
right here, what less useless. It just means that we must train them respectfully and tactfully to honor the boundaries of our relationship. So for example, if there was this baby girl that was your friend and used to, kiss and all of that.
And then the husband's friend or the woman's wife's friend.
Either way, both ways.
Okay.
If there are like a lot of intimate things.
Pre-dance. You're now explain.
Okay. I don't mean like all the way.
So maybe like you guys were really chumsy. So hugs,
there's some guy exactly enter your kitchen, cook for herself.
Yeah.
Bring the Nintendo Wii, play games, roll on the couch, remove.
Slept over in your house. It's too late. I'm coming. It's 11 o'clock. I'm coming to your house to sleep now.
For some people, it's actually just friendships.
Yeah.
Really, as in like. Well, I don't know so many of people like that, but I've heard stories of people, a guy and a girl, they were really close. They knew nothing was happening sexually, but they were just very relaxed and free. Now, when that guy gets married...
Yeah, I will not be the wife that will be like, oh, go ahead, because, I'll just,
Why? It's just somehow...
It's somehow, I won't even lie that, and I think most women are like that generally, all things being equal, all things being equal, it's like territory. We want to know that I'm yours and you are mine. And I think one of women's primary needs is a man that is faithful. And when I say faithful, it doesn't even mean you are stepping out on me or you're cheating. That anywhere I can say you are my man and I'm your woman. Nobody should be sharing.
Be like, are you sure?
We can't be sharing the same things. I cannot be giving my husband the same thing you are giving him. No, it doesn't work like that.
I hear you in that. So we've spoken about that. So it's important for people to understand boundaries, but also don't get isolated. So value the voices of wisdom, voice of reason. So friends, good friends who honor your union. How about also mentors?
Okay, so now we're talking about good third parties that are necessary.
Yes, if you want to use the example third party, we're just talking about, don't just block people off and then find yourself in one corner where if anything happens, there's nobody to agree with you in prayer, shine the light, give you perspective.
Okay, so speaking about mentors, at what point is it okay to say we want to bring an issue to a mentor, we want to open up something to a mentor, we want to share something with a mentor?
Ideally,
right?
I think that those are kind of things that should have been discussed before the marriage.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, I think that there should be a last resort in that regard. Now, the reason I'm saying that is, the reason you need a mentor or a pastor or a leader is not for the day of trouble.
It's for guidance, so that when the
Yes.
day of trouble comes, you can deal with it.
And so that you don't even have many days of troubles.
True.
Yeah, because if the only reason you're having me in your life is for emergency, then you're wasting my wisdom. That means by my constant interaction with you, certain things should be transparent, that's the word?
Transposed.
Transfusing, transmitting,
Transmitted.
osmosis,
Diffusion, pollination, and there's another one. Have you said osmosis?
Osmosis, impartations. Yeah, so because I want to move the conversation away from just crisis, emergency, which is what a lot of people do when something goes wrong. There's family meeting and there's a pastor. But the ongoing transfer of wisdom that comes from open conversations, honest conversations, is extremely important. Of course, I do also agree that there are times where, you know, that this case has water don't pass Gary. Like, this your Gary is about to become, what do you call it now?
Eba.
And that's when the Gary has passed
They pass the water. Okay, so cool. So we'll take a short break now, and when we come back, we will wrap this up.
Where are my wrapping sheets? Do you have them? Wrapping sheets. This is one of the biggest ways in which pastors earn money. People whose lives have been touched by their ministries or by their books or by their sermons or by their telecast or broadcast or podcast, they literally give. And I've been a beneficiary of certain gifts that are really amazing. Now, before you go like, hey, what kind of gifts? If you look at the book of Luke chapter 8, the Bible makes it very clear that there were 3 women that sponsored, if you can use an example, Jesus' ministry. Yeah, and those 3 women were not small women. One of them was working with Herod. That's a lot of money. So just think about like one of them working with, I'm not saying that Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or Carlos Slim or Jeff Bezos is Herod. I'm just saying, imagine an EA or SA or CFO to one of those big guys, one of those big billionaires, being impacted by your ministry and saying, oh, you know what, rabbi or pastor, teacher, I want to support your ministry. So a lot of pastors have been that favored, where in fact I would argue that for most pastors I know, 80% of their income comes from less than 20% of people in their circles. Yeah, people who've been really touched and say, Pastor, anything you want to do, any event you want to have, personal or church, I will fund it or I will give towards that. All right, so it's great to be back, and we're talking about, you know, voices. I'll call them value. This is what I say: value the voices of value in your life. Value the voices of wisdom. You know, you can just call it VOW, VOW, voices of wisdom. So when you, what do you call it? Share the vow.
Take your vows.
When you take your vows, also take your vows.
Vows.
The voices of wisdom. All right. Yeah. So how do people go about that? Who are like, how do I find like a mentor, the right quote unquote third parties to guide me? How do you go about that? Because not everybody grew up in a system where they have that. Not everybody has been exposed to that reality. For somebody watching this is totally new. Like
to
I
you.
just felt.
I think you need to be intentional. You're growing up now, like the
So
lawyers
let's
will say.
Get to know
Travis Green. I knew that was coming.
So that your marriage can be ever green,
Green.
even though you are not crushing on ever green.
Right. Right. Okay, so I think you need to be intentional. Like lawyers will say, how do they say it in Latin? Ignorance is not an excuse.
Lectorum, lectorum, lectorum.
That's not it. Right? No, so I think you need to learn, to avoid the emergencies and all the pain and all of that, like you were saying. So you need to learn. Attend seminars, read books. We were talking earlier before we started shooting, and we said most people these days they don't even read books. Back in the day, we would pile books, exchange books, mark, photocopy books, attend events,
talk about
exchange books. Every event we hear, oh, this pastor is coming, we've rushed there, and all those kind of things. But now I think people just go on, oh, we are friends, it's
People
chemistry.
just go on Instagram or social media generally, and they're looking at picture perfect events without understanding dynamics of the experiences
On the daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
you
being
don't
intentional
want to
about
get carried
looking for
away.
the mentors
Yes.
is key.
It's very necessary, very important.
I know. I also remember the scripture that I think it's in John 10, and how it says, "The voice of a stranger they will not hear, and my sheep hear my voice." So, quote and unquote, God is already a third party in the
Yeah.
marriage, because the Bible still says that
God
a
is the best third party.
to have a how do you say it? A
Fold
threefold cord is not
broken.
easily broken. So you are listening to God, that's a good voice, and He can also tell you other people to listen to, other places to go to.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you constantly have that voice of God and other godly voices, you will not listen to strange voices, because
Yeah.
you can now tell the difference.
Yeah.
That this is good for me and this
Yeah.
is not.
I love that analogy, so let me jump on it. Can I jump on it?
Piggyback.
Jump.
Piggyback.
Now, you use the voice of God, which is very important. So I will see that God's voice like a track, like a song, a music track. You can download that song on Spotify, on Deezer, on iTunes, on Amazon, Google Play. Yeah. So there are people who are like Spotify in your life, people who are like SoundCloud in your life. But what you want to ensure is that these people are connected to the same source. So value God, fear God, have reverence from God. I'm not talking about the general, I want a God-fearing man kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people that really honor and respect.
Yeah, and this is really important in this generation where everybody has their own truth. Everybody has a message. Everybody has a word.
Relativism.
Everybody has a doctrine. Everybody has, this is what works. So you really need to distill, because sometimes some things sound very intelligent and very logical, but they're evil, bad, wrong, detrimental, misleading, misguiding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to be very intentional about that, and don't just get so excited. You know, try to follow people through. Try to wait against the plumb line of God's word. And I think, if you do that, you're fine.
And I think, like we've said in past episodes, if you've gotten to that point of trust with the person you want to get married to, you should be able to trust his or her judgment as well, and trust things out between yourselves, and believe that between you and God and your spouse, that you should be able to sort things out. Yep.
Great.
All right. So on that note, hope you've learned a thing or two. Join in the conversation. Ask us a question. Ask us a question. Leave a comment. Tell us what your thoughts are. Yeah. And then, if you know anybody who's in love,
or who loves love,
or who's hoping that love finds them,
or praying desperately, seeking aggressively, and searching in-depthly to find love.
if you search for love like that, you might not find the right kind of love. But if you know anybody, don't worry, all are welcome. Yeah. Please tell them about these videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave a comment, repost, reshare, like, follow us on Instagram, and we will be sure to keep in touch. Thanks for watching. Adios.